Hey guys, I wanted to share with you my journey with faith and how it's grown and how I came to find GreenvilleWesley. So it all starts when I was a baby. I was baptized in a Methodist church, and after that I didn't really go to church. And I was always interested in going, but I never had the opportunity to go with my family. So I mainly went with friends whenever I was younger, like in elementary school. And I remember always having such a great time and asking my mom, can we go to church? Can we go to church? And we were always either busy or didn't get the time to go. So when I would tell people, yeah, my mom doesn't really let us go to church, she was really offended because that wasn't actually the case. So she found a church and we fell in love with it. And we went to Green Valley United Methodist Church for quite some time when we were still living in Missouri. And it was a great foundation. I was able to go through confirmation. I did Girl Scouts and we met there, and it was home. It was a very small church where everybody knew everyone, and it was a great support system going through the rest of elementary school and the first year of middle school. And we were able to ask our pastor all kinds of questions, and he was great with the kids. And when I was younger, I remember asking him if he would baptize me again, because I had seen some of my friends get baptized in the church and I wanted to experience that. And he told me that that wasn't really a thing that Methodists did, or many pastors did at all, because it was almost like invalidating your first baptism and saying that it wasn't necessarily good enough. So he said that he would guide me through confirmation, and he did. And I was able to ask the most out of the park questions and get answers. And that was always really affirming to me and really helped me remember why I am a Christian. And we had Wednesday night logos, which was almost like a youth group for the younger kids. And this was kids all the way from 5 years old up until 5th grade, because when you got into 6th grade, you could go to regular youth group with the older kids. And I always wanted to go to the older kids youth group because my older brother was there and I wanted to be just like him. But I wasn't allowed to go, so we went to Logos, and we had Bible study, we played games, we had food, and it was almost like a mini Wesley in a way. And then my dad got stationed at Fort Bragg, and we had to find another church. And we spent a lot of time looking for a church, but it was hard to go and do trial and error with all these churches, and I started to not get what I needed. So I was kind of turned off from looking for a church again, and everywhere I went, I would compare it to my first home church until we came to Pinehurst United Methodist. And when we went, it was automatically like home. Everybody was so welcoming and understanding, and they accepted us, and we became members of the church. I got involved in the youth group and the mission trips, and I grew my faith back. And it was really enlightening to join a church where everybody respected one another. Even like the older generation would respect the younger generation and listen to them. And it was very different because it was hard to come across that in regular day-to-day life. But besides the fact, it was amazing getting to know everybody in the church and refooting myself in my faith. When I was in high school, I had a moment where I doubted my faith, and I questioned, why am I a Christian? Even though I had already gone through confirmation and everything, I kind of asked myself, why am I a Christian? And why am I struggling right now? And I started to doubt that I was loved. I started to doubt that I deserved to be a Christian, and I really struggled with it. And I never really felt as though I was heard, so I felt lost. And even though I was lost, I still went to church. I wanted to find that spark again. I wanted to grow closer to God. And so I continued to go to church, and I continued to pray and believe, but my doubt grew more and more the longer I went without hearing or feeling him. And then I believe it was my sophomore year of high school, I went to pilgrimage. And if you've ever been to pilgrimage, you know, like, you come Friday night, it's all fun and games, everybody's seeing everybody, there's lots of good music, good conversation, and then Saturday is the day where you start your morning with the devotional, and you have a guest speaker come and talk to you, and then you break for lunch, and then you come back for Saturday night. And Saturday night is always the most emotional night, because it's the point where you get to really let your walls down. So Saturday night came, and I had no idea what to expect. I had been to pilgrimage before, but something felt different about this one because I was so in doubt. And it came to the point where they said, come as you feel moved, and come down to the main floor and pray with one another. And I remember just instantly feeling pushed to go. So I was one of the first people to go down to the floor, and that was very unlike me because I was very shy in crowds like that in high school. So I was one of the first people to go down, and I was all the way up at the stage. And I remember standing there thinking, why did I do that? I felt a little lost, a little embarrassed, but I just put my hands on the stage, and I got down on my knees, and I said under my breath, God, if you truly love me, and you accept me for who I am, and I am your child, and I'm still going to be welcomed into your kingdom in the end, just place your hands on me. And I felt nothing. And so I kept murmuring, place your hands on me, just place your hands on me. Please, God, touch me, let me know that I'm loved, that I'm yours. And all at the same time, 3 people put their hands on me. And I just broke down. And I knew in that moment that I was loved and that he could hear me. And from then on, I never really doubted my faith. I know that, or not that I know, but I learned that you're not always going to constantly hear him or feel him. It's in the little things. And that night, I grew so much more in my faith. And I really believed and came to learn, like, it's okay with everything that you do and who you are. It doesn't define you. You're still loved in the eyes of God. So after that experience, I never really doubted after that. And then I came to college. And when I came to college, I was a little taken aback because I had to find another church family. And many of you know Zach Moser. He convinced me to look into different churches before I had left to come to college. And when I got into my dorm, I was in Jarvis, so automatically I knew that there was a Methodist church just down the street, Jarvis Memorial, and I thought, yeah, I might check it out, but I tried several other churches before deciding to stick with Jarvis Memorial. And I had tried like the Catholic Newman Center, and I didn't really like that. I couldn't take communion, so automatically turned away from that. I didn't really want to be a part of a big group like Fuse or ANC, so I never really gave them a chance, but I wanted to stay Methodist based, so I ended up being torn between St. James and Jarvis Memorial. And I decided to go to Jarvis Memorial because it was walking distance. It only took me like 10 minutes to get there from my dorm. And once I tried it, I felt at home again. It was a little different and the church was a little older, but as soon as I walked in the door, I can't remember her name, but she said, "Oh, you're a college student." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And so she went through the normal questions like, "Oh, where are you from? What are you studying? What do you hope to do?" And then she asked, "Are you a part of a campus ministry yet?" And I told her, "No, I didn't really find any on campus that clicked." And she said, "Well, have you heard of GreenvilleWesley?" And I told her, no, I hadn't, but I asked her to tell me more. And she said that it was a smaller campus ministry. It was Methodist based, but everybody went, and they would pick me up on campus at this spot at this time in a van. They would take me to a restaurant, give me a free meal, and that there would be music and a devotional and then some hangout time afterwards, and that they would bring me back and that they were always looking for new students. And I told her, okay, yeah, I'll look into it. And I was nervous. I was so nervous. But I convinced myself to go, and I went to the pickup spot at West End, and I remember standing there thinking, oh my gosh, I look like I'm crazy, just standing here waiting for a van. And then a white van drove up and I was like, oh, that's a little scary. But then Taylor came out and she asked if I was there for Wesley too, and I said yes, and we got into the van together, and then we drove up to the hill and we picked up a couple other students, and Maggie was there, and we came to the first Wesley, and again it was home. I can remember Jeremy walking up and introducing himself, asking us our names, and going through the normal questions, and then he said, well, go pick out some food, and then sit down, enjoy your meal, and we'll get started in a little bit. And I fell in love with it. And I feel like I went pretty regularly my freshman year, but my sophomore year I had a lot of roadblocks. I didn't have the time to really go to Wesley, let alone church. So I was absent for about a year. And I remember getting an email from Maggie, and she asked me, or I asked her, hey, I know I hadn't been in a while, but if you guys still remember me and if it's still okay, could I come back? And she emailed me back and said, yeah, of course, we're always thinking about you, and we were wondering where you'd been, but feel free to come back. We miss you. And I decided, you know, I'll just go and really see if this is where I'm supposed to be. And as soon as I came back, Jeremy welcomed me. He was like, where have you been? And everybody was asking me about like what I'd been doing, what I had been up to. They remembered small details about me, and it was like I had never left. And so finding GreenvilleWesley really gave me a foundation for my faith in college, because college can be hard, especially when it comes to staying strong in your faith. But I feel like GreenvilleWesley really gave me a good foundation and guided me through college, and coming back was the best feeling because it was like I had never left. And then it gave me this great internship, and I'm able to grow even more in my faith and learn about how beloved I truly am, and just really putting everything together that I've experienced throughout my life is still being reinforced through GreenvilleWesley, and just being surrounded by the people that love me and accept me and encourage me to be the best version of myself that I can be. And all in all, GreenvilleWesley really is a home, no matter how long you're absent, how long you've been going there, or where you're placed in life. I feel like GreenvilleWesley is the biggest blessing that I could have had in college.